move on from things that don't serve you well, you know, and find your journey, respect your journey, and love it.
Ooh, ooh, never say never. The boy to turn the OnlyFans. I'm the only man. Mic check, mic 1, 1, 2. Shout out to Sarah Shields. Man, she did her 1-2 yesterday. It was crazy watching that fight. I'm just gonna check the audio feed real quick. Make sure your boy is live. You can hear what he's saying. Mic check, mic 1. Okay. All right, let me see. I'm trying to activate these new microphones. So it actually came through. So I want to make sure it's good. But yeah, we got a nice little conversation today. We just gonna get into it as I'm checking my audio and stuff. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Oh, okay. Oh, it sound real clear. All right, bet. Appreciate it for hitting that like button. Also, while you at it, you know, man, subscribe to your boy. You know what I'm saying? Share it out. You see from the titles what we about to talk about. I'm gonna give y'all time to do that. All right. Shout out to everybody on Twitter, X, you know what I'm saying, coming through, supporting your boy. You already know. All right. Think we good. Oh yeah, we good. We good. All right, bet. All right, appreciate that. So let's get into it, man. Y'all already see from the title what it is. Sony has decided to go full on OnlyFans. I told them that the garage sale was real. You know what I'm saying? They laughed me out the goddamn gym, but lo and behold, hey man, hey, I do this. That's all I'm gonna say, man. I do this. Next topic, we're gonna talk about Obsidian and pretty much them bending the knee. It's crazy out here on that one. And the Portal 2 Scrapyard edition, man. Like, bruh, I'm gonna go ahead and touch bases with it, so you already know what it is. So let me get to the scene. So when I was in here chopping it up and I was on the show, this news broke. And again, I'm not a rumor person. I try not to carry that stench of, oh, I heard this from the janitor who had the mop bucket that was sitting next to the door that had access to the sensitive information and they leaking and saying XYZ is dropping. I'm not that type of person. That's not what I do on my show. I'm just gonna be 100% real with you. I do give my speculation on things that's happening. I do look at certain things and say, hey, I see these guys pivoting. I see the writing on the wall. I wouldn't be surprised if they do this. That's me. That's what I do. So I came with this whole situation when I was talking about the Great Migration. Everybody know me for that. I was doing that through the debate. I told them I used to work at Game Slut. I remember the incident of what happened with Grand Theft Auto 4 releasing, and then seeing the transition from the red ring of death to the yellow ring of death to the internet crash of both consoles in the gaming market. Just giving a little backstory here so you can get some context on where I come from, what I'm seeing here. So I said I seen the great migration between consoles, and this is one of the reasons why I understood what Phil Spencer said prior about the 360 era of they missed that opportunity of where consumers or gamers were building their library and they missed the opportunity to conceal those type of gamers into their ecosystem because the 360 was a pivotal moment in gaming because of the graphical leap, the amount of content that was out, the IPs that was being bought out, the whole shebang. And then from that point, Microsoft pivot from doing third-party dealings. I remember seeing this vividly. Red Ring of Death went out. People was trading in their consoles. due to like warranty issues. They was trading in their consoles and grabbing them a PlayStation because they wanted to play their Grand Theft Auto and they Call of Duties. And then when the internet went down on the PlayStation side and the yellow ring of death on their side, it was a slow migration. It wasn't as aggressive as it was with the Xbox. Granted, people went because they had tournaments and stuff like that going on, but for the most part, a lot of people stayed on the PlayStation side of things and lead us to where we at now. I saw the guerrilla tactics of what Microsoft did. They say, yo, we're gonna go not do these third-party deals. We're gonna try to own the IPs. We're gonna open up the purse. We're gonna build our library. And they shifted towards what we have now, which is Game Pass, because they say, hey, if we can't beat them on the unit sales, we can beat them on the aspect of owning IPs and bringing in revenue from actual gaming by owning these IPs. Seen the writing on the wall, been talking about it. And, you know, like I said, been standing 10 toes down on everything I said. I said Sony is about to do the garage sale. People looked at me like I'm crazy, like, whoa, why would they? The big monies of the world, the J-Dubs, you know, I like to call names. These are the people I have dialogue with when it comes to the gaming things. You know, oh, Microsoft need their games on Sony because their user base isn't buying the games. We find out that was a lie. Forza Horizon alone had over 47 million active users. Oh, those don't account to sales. Actually, it does in a shape, form, or factor, because Microsoft give you a variety of ways of playing their content. Either you go through a subscription base, or you buy the game physically, or you get it on a discount. Neither here nor there. Also, you know, oh, Sony has over 80 million consoles sold, so it makes sense for them to bring their games over there. These are the same games y'all said that was trash, that was Metacritic deprived, they was only getting 80s and below, they was not worth the money, but the moment those games went over to their own platform of choice, they sold and charted over their own exclusives, I might add. So, I just got to give a backstory. I said, yo, it is going to be a garage sale at Sony. The new head guys are charged. Jim Ryan, the way that he left the state of Sony is in a turmoil. He let them know out the gate, hey, I was a hardware selling console juggernaut. The proof is in the pudding, but you guys ain't enough when it comes to software. This software ain't moving and shaking. He tried to pivot from the third person over to show the adventure games that they're known for, and it failed tremendously. Billions of dollars lost at the hands of Jim Ryan and his pivot towards live service games, and the proof is in the pudding. Now the new hokey tokey dude, I don't want to chop up his name, sorry, I don't know it. He came out and told him again, yo, I'm looking behind the curtain and shit ain't sugar. Everything ain't sweet over here at all. Matter of fact, we're sitting on a pile of horse manure and I don't even know how to get up out this situation. Now, we keep telling you guys, this is my thing, you know what I'm saying? Not like this abroad in all aspects of life, not just in video games. So you can take this with anything. Somebody that don't like me, someone that does like me. I like a straight up individual. I like somebody that's your attentions is front and center. I know what you here for. I know your attentions are. I can move around and I can maneuver with you. I can respect you. Hey, if you hate me, all right, cool. I know what I can and cannot say around you, or if I need to be around you at all. If you like me, all right, cool. We can have a rapport, dialogue, and we can have a conversation from there. And that's for all aspects. So when it comes to Microsoft, straight front, no cookie, no chase, this what we doing. It's pretty simple. It's for you to understand what I'm saying. Can I have articulated better for some of you guys? Yeah, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But for the ones that's cerebral enough to understand what I'm saying, this is what I'm putting down. You can chop it up and go from there if you want. You know, everybody like to say, oh, they deceived us. They did this. They said there was only going to be 4 games. They never said that. What's good, King Reaper? They said we're doing a trial run. And the moment most people with a cerebral mindset, when you hear that, we understand, okay, bet. Something's in the air, because why would you even do a trial run with something if it didn't have some type of form of intention with it? So, okay, cool. Those 4 games went over to Sony. It broke the bank. They went crazy. It was up and it was stuck. And I knew that from Jump Street, from that point on. And I agree with the move. Why wouldn't I not give a consumer that's right now at the moment thirsty? I'm talking about bone dry when it comes to gaming. They don't have nothing to play outside of third-party games, and we trickle in a couple first-party the wet they whistle. But other than that, you ain't got nothing to play throughout the year. Microsoft said, yo, we got old 5-year, 15-year games, 20-year game plus that we can put over there. Let them sit. Let us see what happened. And then they sell. They start charting. The pre-orders are up. The beta for Gears with the online testing. People are running up making clips. It's going social. It's going viral. Why wouldn't I take that opportunity to say, yo, you know what? We got a whole wave over here. And they in a drought. Why don't we hit them blocks with this young product, with the old product? You ain't even getting the new product. We giving them the old joint, and then we can still satisfy our old fan base with our old games. So I'm saying that to say this. Sony sees the play. Sony been seeing the play. Sony does what Sony do. And Sony has a great way of hiding their intentions from their fan base, making them believe this fake believe fantasy world, and then sweeping the carpet right up under their feet every time. Every fanboy falls for it. Every fanboy looks stupid, especially when you go into these podcasts. Sony make it handle. Sony make the greatest games ever. I had one dude said, when they was watching Ghost of Yote, they said Sony is like the Picasso of gaming. I said, excuse me? Come again? They the who of gaming? You know that Picasso was a diverse artiste, right? Like, he can do more than one set art style. Like, Sony only does one thing, and right now, currently, they are shaking in their boots. They have to cater to just this one audience, because they know for a fact that their audience isn't growing. It's not expanding. I keep saying the same thing and no one's coming up with the answer. How in the world do you have 80 million units sold allegedly? Allegedly you have 80 million units sold, but your games is only doing 10. I don't see nothing go over 15 yet, especially anything newer. You know, Astrobot only did 2, and they said that was the game of the generation. It was the well-renowned game that everybody should play and love, like, and it only did 2. How did this make sense? But I'm gonna leave it alone. So I told them Sony is going third party. The Hashitashi dude, sorry again, I don't know his name. I'm butchering his name. The new owner, he came out and he verbally said to the consumers that everything is not sweet at at Sony. We're gonna have to do a rebuild. He started canceling games left and right. We saw the leak information, not knowing if it's true or not, about the Sony Spider-Man DLC not shooting the light of day. 300 something million off of that. We saw the whole information. Well, we saw front and center what happened to Concord and the price tag that came along with that game. I'm rehashing old conversation points because I'm trying to speed y'all up to what's the reason why what we're seeing right now with this article stating that hold on. Oh, that's the wrong article. But this job listing for Sony. Because a lot of people just did not want to accept that Sony is in turmoil. Sony is not in the great state that people are claiming there to be in. Sony is literally out here shaking it on the stripper pole for dollars at this moment just to get sales. And it shows, and the cracks are showing. And it's like, how long can you keep these cracks hidden before we find out that the whole entire ship is sinking? So I told him about the Great Migration, which stuck and still, which understandable it is what it is. The checkmate with this situation is this. And Sony sees this because even the ex-employee came out and also said, hey, if you want sequels to titles and newer games, you got to go out and buy these remakes and remasters. You got to go buy a mixtape all over again. Again, these are games that already have been released, supported, made profit. They are telling you in your face, if you want a sequel to those games, which is the real key component to gaming as a whole. This is why you focus on the money, you focus on how much successful a game is. You pocket watch for a reason. Because if a game doesn't make profit, you don't get sequels. Plain and simple. It ain't about, oh, you're not an investor, so why would you? No, it's I'm a consumer. I enjoy the product that you're giving me. I would like to have more, so guess what? I'm going to invest in those said games so I can get a sequel. This company is telling you, yeah, you invested in the first time. We made a decent amount of coin on the first go round, but guess what? We pissed off the money. We tricked off the money, and now we need you to come back and invest again on that same game, that same product, no sequel. That's what they're telling you. In your face, that's what they said. That's what I got. Whereas on the other side of the pond over here on Microsoft end, they say, yo, you got Game Pass, we got you. We done bought up all these developers. We got some of the most profound IPs under our belts. We got some of the greatest developers that y'all know and love from the past time that's coming into the future that's making games. And guess what? If they desire to do new experiences, you do not have to worry about OVO sweatshop over here. You just constantly making the same games. If you want to venture out and have some new experience, put it on Game Pass. We'll give you a ticket for it. You already getting paid because you in the contract with us. Put it on Game Pass. If it makes some noise, we're gonna put it front and center for you. We're gonna advertise them and make it shake. You're gonna still make profit. It's a guaranteed job to an extent, because I gotta put that extent part in there, because this Satya Nadella dude put it in a tight spot. But again, I told everybody what it was when it came to AI in that situation. But Microsoft is in the forefront of saying, yo, if you're a game developer, you got a desire to make a game, you don't have to be stuck into the mindset of we want a Fortnite clone, we want a Call of Duty clone, you want to try something new and adventurous, do it. If you want to juggle around and do 2 games, do it. It's a just do it type of environment. All we ask is that you put it in Game Pass. Let our fan base, let our day one subscribers, the members only, get access to it through Game Pass. let them enjoy your game and get feedback from it. And then you can go from there for whatever game you want to do. If you want to even bring out another title or not. A lot of indie developers love it because you get a whole new look, and now they're expanding Game Pass from just the console itself. So not only are we getting the PC market, you're over here getting mobile, because they haven't even announced mobile yet. That's the scary part right there. They haven't announced the mobile aspect of what they're doing with Microsoft. And then you also are bringing in and ushering in the Steam audience as well with Epic Games and etc. Microsoft is like, we taking over the blocks. We not just looking at Fifth Ave. We coming from Fifth Ave all the way up to 75th. We want it all. We want everything on the block enjoying our product one way or the other. Thing, aka consumer. So Sony sees this because, again, they look at the charts before we look at the charts. They got access to this data and information. They clearly seen in the month of May, I think May, June, when those 4 games came over, their consumer base, their fans, their audience shift over to playing Microsoft games on a Xbox platform, regardless of the age of those games. Because again, Gears Reloaded, they didn't get Gears 5. You got Gears Reloaded. What's good, Black Lightning? You didn't get they didn't even touch Halo. You got Forza Horizon. You didn't get Forza Motorsport. You got Forza Horizon, which is a 5-year-old game. And the consumer base started consuming their time and effort on those said games. That's the key point when it comes to this marketing, which comes with gaming as a whole. Where is your audience spending their time? Because at the end of the day, if they're spending their time there, they're spending money. That's all. Regardless if it's DLC, regardless if it's expansion packs, you're spending money, which means you're spending time, which means you're spending money. You gotta think of it as like a mall aspect. When you're going to the mall, hey, you come in there, you like, you know what? I'm going to Macy's to get a pair of pants. That's all I'm getting. Just a pair of pants. That's it. That's all. I'm in and out. You happen to just parked in the wrong side of the mall. Now you got to walk through the mall. You seeing all the stores, you seeing the sales, you seeing all of the buy 2 get 1s, 60% off, 40% off. You're going to be enticed to go into those stores. By the time you leave from going to Macy's, if you even made it to Macy's, back to your car, 9 out of 10, you probably done bought something to eat, got something to drink, probably got a t-shirt to go with it, some shoes, filled up a whole little fit for the night. You bought more than what you was supposed to be buying. That's the mindset of Game Pass right now. The whole slate. Whole slate. That's the mindset of Game Pass. Just think of it as a mall. You came in, but the thing is, a mall that you got to pay a membership for. So let's say you got to pay, I don't know, $25 at the door. You get access to all this Gucci, Chanel, Prada, Louis Vuitton. You get the Jordan. You got access to everything. You get all the exclusives. Before everybody else get a chance to, you get to check it out, try it out, put it on, and spend your money for it. That's Game Pass as a whole. You came in for one thing, you left with 5 bags full of everything. Microsoft got this in the bag. Sarah Barnes and Phil, they got that in the bag. That mindset is carrying over in Game Pass, and it's successful like no other. Sony, on the other hand, is trying to get there. They them all in the hood. Some of the stores is closed. They boarded down. You get only a select amount of Payless shoes that's in there. They like Walmart to an extent. You feel me? Like going to the hood Walmart. You're going to see some bonnets, You gonna see some tank tops and a lot of hood fights in that joint. Phil was right. Bro, the man was right. The man was right. And it's hard for people to accept it because look at the end results. Sony is in the copy and paste state. They desperate. You pull up a whole job listing for Sony plans on bringing PS5 games to the Xbox, Switch, and more. Again, Xbox, if you look at the landscape of the YouTube world, you know, Microsoft supposed to be dead. Microsoft don't supposed to be making no next generation console. Microsoft supposed to be doing poor business decisions. Microsoft ain't making no profit. None of their games are selling. Microsoft is just in the worst state known to man. But for some reason, Sony constantly follows up behind or try to mimic what Microsoft is doing. I'm hearing that they're supposed to be quote unquote doing some type of deal with Steam, just like Microsoft did. So does that mean that Sony is third party now? They're a third party publisher? Do we carry that same energy as to, you know, exclusives supposed to matter to a console? If it did, and Sony was making all of this money and all this revenue, why are they pumping their games over to Switch and the Xbox? Why are they looking at other platforms to release their titles on? And I kept telling these people, I said this around the Days Gone debacle with Part 2, and they was talking about doing the remaster. I even said it before then with the Last of Us incident. I'm like, dude, you're gonna tell me you want to keep pumping out Last of Us to the same audience, a group of individuals that already played Last of Us? Make it make sense. Sony guys done beat this game to the ruler to the tutor. They done stripped it down to its bare bone. They got all of the trophies. They know Ellie's got daggone dialogue. They can repeat and recite her whole transcript. They know Joe's talking points. They know everything about this game from the ruler to the tutor. But you're gonna tell them they need to go out and buy it again? Oh, we get this time we put a hard mode into it. Now you got a horde mode with it, and we made it tougher. Are you dialogue the same, story the same, nothing changed, but you gave me a difficult mode and a horde mode? That should justify the price tag being increased. And imagine them trying to do this with all of their games, like Spider-Man, rolling out Days Gone, rolling out Infamous Second Son, Uncharted, God of Wars. All of the games that you already 100% trophy, they trying to re-roll it out to you again. I said they was going third party, and I meant that they was going third party. The wheels accelerated more, in my opinion. The wheels accelerated more in this situation was when Microsoft and Sarah Bond checkmated them with the Rogue Ally. When they presented the Rogue Ally and they told the features that the Rogue Ally would be able to do and perform, and then we got the Xbox PC app that came out, and they showed their partnership with Steam, it checkmate the fuck out of Sony that they had to join OnlyFans. At that point, they was just like, we got to sell ass now. We got to give it up. We got to give up everything now, because when this device hit the block, when people start to fully understand and comprehend what that Rogue Ally can actually do, and when the content starts spreading out in the wild about what it can do, we're screwed. They was done for. The older Rogue Ally was already playing, I had the video of it playing Death Stranding 2. An individual was playing Death Stranding 2 on the older Rogue Ally. So the Rogue Ally X is gonna come out, and you're not only getting the Xbox, you're getting Steam games as well. And every game listed that's on Steam, they're like, oh, Sony is going to block it, so you can't. No, they can't. You can't. That would be the most craziest lawsuit ever. Who tells you, or how can you tell me what I can do with my purchase after I paid for it via Steam on the PC? And that was the reason why I said well, I didn't say it. Sarah Bond says they have two different OSs for gaming. We have the Windows OS for gaming for Microsoft, which is the reason, for Steam and Epic Games, which allow access to those games on their own software aspect, on their own OS. And then we have Xbox OS, which is your actual native games on being playable. And everybody looking like, oh, they's not doing that. That's not the case. It's not being native. This is themed over there, streamed over there. No, it's not. The woman said it herself. It is two separate entities, and that console, the console is going to bring you the 4K, the ray tracing, and all that bells and whistles. The console that they're making, you're going to get the full console / PC experience that they're delivering on the aspects of graphics and fidelity and all that other stuff that y'all like. With this handheld, it was already set at 1080p, but you're getting the mobile aspect of it just with two different OSs. So Sony couldn't block out that deal or block those games that you bought from Steam to not play on the Rogue Ally X. And Sony knows this. So that's why I said in one of my videos, I said, yo, they're going to have, Microsoft has forced Sony to release their whole slate. Because right now, if they don't release their whole slate, they're going to lose out on profit. Helldivers 2 pre-orders were massive. And y'all gonna be like, Derek, what you talking about? Melo, you tripping, blah, blah, blah. That was the green light. That was the green light for what you see right now. This job listing of them saying, yo, bring those games now over to those other platforms and port them ASAP. I need them there ASAP. Because Helldivers 2 was a massive success on pre-orders from Xbox. I already got mine pre-order. I already knew. I said I was concerned about the release window because the amount of games that was coming out around that time. But my worries are done now with this announcement. It showed me that it was a massive success and they ready to pull out the whole slate. They ready to kick the doors open with profit with this listing alone by itself. They are officially OnlyFans. So, Sony Studio is officially the OnlyFans company. He said, yeah, Sony just blocked. He says Sony can't block it and they don't want to block it. This was all in the making by the big three. Facts. Because you can't look at, Sony couldn't look at the chart of seeing Pentiment, Grounded, what was the other game? High on Life. No, not High on Life. What was the other one? Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves all roll over and all four charted in the top, I want to say top 15, 20. Give me some leeway. I don't know the actual number, but all four charted on Microsoft storefront. Then you turn around and bring out Gears and the pre-order numbers on net. Sony is seeing this. Sony is peeping game. So then they throw out a little bone and say, all right, here, we're going to do Helldivers 2. And them numbers is booming. Them numbers is shaking. They like, word? Oh, so this is what we can do over there. And again, Microsoft's supposed to be failing. All of the rumors, all of the journalists, all of the Z's of the world, Microsoft is failing. They getting out of they getting out the gaming market of consoles. And Microsoft was like, fool, are y'all dumb? We making hand over fist money over here. Yeah, we probably didn't sell. And again, the people told everybody in their face, our hardware ain't selling. They said it. Hardware ain't selling. But these games, though, these games moving and shaking out here. I don't know what y'all talking about. We got the streets on lock. Oh, matter of fact, we gonna show y'all up with all these rumors and speculation that we're on our downfall. All of these weak Metacritic scores that we're getting. Guess what we gonna do? We gonna release them on our ops console and prove y'all wrong. And did just that. Why all of a sudden the Metacritic score bumped up more because it's on the PlayStation device? That's why I say I never went off of Metacritic at all. It was clear biasness in many ways than one. But it proved it the moment Microsoft games went on PlayStation. You start seeing a bump in the Metacritic scores. You start seeing a bump in sales. You start seeing a bump on the user base of people, actually the active users on the games itself. Why? How? I thought these games was dead in the water. This wasn't like a normal, like a PlayStation port to PC where you get a couple thousand sales. No, Forza Horizon did millions on Xbox, on PlayStation alone. He said Lightning is the cure. He said Sony been following Microsoft for years now because Microsoft has been leading the way. Why didn't Sony lead the way? Because one, they don't have the money to. He said they don't have the money to. They are the most popular. And then he said they told us the playback in 2015, 2016. Why you think they showed slow up on games in the Xbox One era? Yeah, it became about ownership. That's what I kept saying. That's what I said in the beginning of the video. I agree with everything you just said. Everything you just said. That's 1,000% sure. When you have to pivot, when you've been doing something so long, it was the battle with a third party. Who can get the third party deal? Who can get an exclusive console out? Who can get exclusive artwork to sell to the consumer? Microsoft said that's dead in the water. That's not working for us. I think that I said the same thing before the Z. Like, I think that Sunset Overdrive incident really messed things up with Microsoft and Phil Spencer. Even the Rise Son of Rome, because everybody want a sequel, and then you can't get a sequel because they went and got bought out by another consumer, or I think when Rise Son of Rome, they got legal issues. I think Phil Spencer and Microsoft synced that, like, okay, at this point we finna start pivoting. It's all about ownership. We're gonna throw the bag for ownership, massive amount of money, but we're gonna get that money on the back end, because guess what? We're gonna do a membership subscription service, which is gonna generate revenue every time the individuals play those said games. And it's worked out. It's worked. Gaming services is up. Hardware is down. They said our hardware is going to be down. We can't change the perspective on the hardware right now, and our start out the gate was terrible. We can openly admit that now. It's 5 years in. But when it came to the actual software, you can't deny that software, because even before these games went to Sony, we was having 10 million, 15, 20, 47 million active users playing our games, from Sea of Thieves all to Grounded, all the way up to a Forza Horizon. And that was just on Xbox and PC, which is crazy. He said the Sony Sanford's they crashing out, as they should, because you got to think about it. You had a lot of people out here that was, and shout out to Dirk Griggly and them, because they said this in their podcast, and when I went through there, and they was talking about somebody, I think his name was Ray on Twitter. he had made a negative title about Microsoft, and it got over 5,000 views and all type of comments and support. And a lot of people was like mind blown by that. And we've been saying this. It's media bias. If you can Fandango your title to make it seem like it's a negative Xbox news, you're gonna get views. Or if you legit just dogging out Microsoft and saying how trash it is, you're going to make revenue, you're going to make bread, you're going to get follows, you're going to get likes. Especially if you know how to Fandango it. One dude, he said how he Fandangoed it was because this is all new in the Xbox community. A lot of people didn't know about it. Everybody was kind of like me and other people like, nah, I can't just come out here and be on mic and try to sell something that I don't believe in. That's hard for me. That's hard for me to do. I can't just sit here and be like, oh yeah, Xbox trash, da 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 da. And then right when I'm done on the podcast, I'm booting up the Xbox. That's crazy to me. But some people can remove that out of their mental and just, if you want to say, sell their soul for profit. They know for a fact if I make a negative comment or I have negative content regarding Microsoft and whatever they're doing, I can sell that to some people that want it. And apparently it's a lot of people out there. He said his post coming out of retirement. Post out here got his little ones and stuff, man. It's been summertime. Chicago been crazy out here. Post gonna come when Post ready, bro. We gonna gas up the Honda whenever he ready. I can't blame him because, bro, it's been active out here in the city. I'm talking about from the Chinese marketplace was lit. We had Cinco de Mayo. The fourth was kind of crazy depending on where you was at, but it's been fire out here, bro. Like the day party's been lit. The brunch has been on point. The ladies looking good. He said, nah, Melo, he said, steer the ship now. Steering the ship. I'm just coming out here because bro, we've been talking about this for years. Yeah. And I've been standing on business. I done told these dudes, Melo gonna be Melo regardless of who around, bro. And I've been saying this for the longest. Sony is dried out. It is time to sell, and they about to be out here OnlyFanning, bro. They finna start OnlyFanning because, and I've asked that question. Microsoft went through the rough times. Microsoft went through the trenches and had to pivot and went through the hell and high water of people saying they only worried about entertainment. They not about gaming. The games that they do got is trash. Where are the games? Microsoft went through all of that turmoil. Even to this day, everybody knows about AI and how it's taking over like content, even on social media and just entertainment as a whole. But the moment Satya and the dollar start letting people go, which again, I don't agree with people losing their jobs, but it's bro, the game is a game. Capitalism is capitalism. And I explained it to them very simple. I can't write it out no better. If I can have someone, if I had a food truck and I had over 20 people on a food truck and we making our bread, if I can reduce that down to two, a robot and a human, you think I wouldn't do that and still make the same profit, not even more, because I'm saving money on the back end from employees? You think I wouldn't do that? You're crazy. And then because I see it from a business aspect. Microsoft is $1 trillion company. They got over 200 and I think over 250,000 daggone employees. So yeah, 9,000 gonna look crazy, but that's not just for one said area. That's the company as a whole. And even down to the fact of that, the reason why they're losing their jobs. I keep saying we're gonna be our own down. Humans as a whole is gonna be their own down, their downfall, because everybody is in a race to be ahead of the next person. and they're willing to sacrifice everything, even humans' ability to function and work in society. Like, it's getting to that point where, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just, again, like I said, I don't agree with people losing their jobs, but I understand the reason why. And a lot of people should be concerned, especially your 9-to-5ers, because if you're able to take away a job or a position like game development, even though it's not like something that's life changing in the world, you know, it's still a form of entertainment. But you do have to go to, most people go to school for this. Most people have to have some form of a degree and certification to create video games. And those positions are now getting attacked. This ain't no 9-to-5 at McDonald's and you flipping fries or something like that. Like, this is a serious position that's about to be reduced, that's being reduced in front of our eyes. And it's like, how will humans respond, or how will we evolve from this? But like anything that came in life, we always find a way. So he said, honestly, I don't think Microsoft should have brought ABK. It was too much for them to handle. Those IPs will get shit. Oh, no. That's the thing. Lightning. And I ain't trying to convince you from, you know, your opinion or whatever, but I think ABK was the great idea for Microsoft, because regardless if those games, if I'm going to take your narrative of the games might be getting shelved, if I was even going with that narrative, I own those IPs. And you got to think about the mental aspect of consumers when it comes to video gaming and entertainment. We're willing to go out and invest on a content that we know compared to a content that we don't know. We'll see a new game and be like, all right, that looked good, but I don't know. But if I take a title like Call of Duty, which has a household name that's been out for years, and then I happen to just roll it out, people are going to gravitate to, like, oh man, that's my childhood I'm seeing. I grew up on this game. I remember playing my brothers on the couch and we going X, Y, and Z. This is why Halo will always be Halo. This is why Gears of War will be Gears, and God of War, and etc. Those individuals carry a lot of what's the word I'm trying to think of? They carry a lot of importance in a lot of consumers' heart, because of we have so many memories of them, those said characters. With the ABK deal, like I said, it didn't pose to turn out how it did. You got to thank Jim Ryan for that, honestly, because Jim Ryan was the one that was saying, oh, we don't want Game Pass on PC. Oh, if they take this ABK deal and they take this game from us, we won't be able to survive. Oh, we want a deal where we gonna get Call of Duty for X amount of time, and you can't promote Call of Duty going into Game Pass. Like, this is the stuff Jim Ryan did in that aspect. That ABK deal actually helped them because it helps with them with the mobile market, which they're trying to get back into. We just ain't, you know, they really ain't announced that part yet, but Satya Nadella himself said, I messed up when he closed down the mobile market and he didn't do the cell phone situation. He shut down the cell phones. Now they're trying to open that back up because of Candy Crush and things like that. They make billions of dollars off of that. And the Play Anywhere promotion. Every device is an Xbox. They needed all of that content to deliver to their product. So now you're willing to go and play those games because you have a familiarity with them. And then on top of that, Microsoft owned them now. He said Jim Ryan had nothing to do with the ABK deal. He did, to an extent, because he was the one that was screaming to Joe Biden on blocking the deal. He was the one that was screaming to the rooftops of how important Call of Duty was to Sony. He was the one that blocked Game Pass going on PlayStation. He did that. he played a significant role on how everything turned out, because if case in point would be this, Mike. If Jim Ryan didn't block Game Pass going on to PlayStation, the network that it was, Microsoft wouldn't have had to turn around and backdoor them and just release the games at it for a percentage. Stuff like the things that they did with the Sea of Thieves, the Grounded, etc. They wouldn't have had to do that. They would have just did Game Pass access everywhere. It would have just been an app, which was optional. It wasn't like it was built into PlayStation. You would have had the consumer would have to literally go into the store and download the app. And allegedly all the hatred that Sony fans have for Xbox, they probably would have never done it. But Jim Ryan made that fuss, which Phil Spencer and Sarah Bonds and them pivot. And they said, oh, okay, well, cool. We're going to take this experiment then. We're going to take these 4 and see how they shape. And, oh, they sell? Okay, cool. We can go in the garage and pull out all our dusties and make profit. To even keep funding Game Pass with even more deals and more games from third party. He said, Lightning, that's true. I agree with what you're saying, bro. But no, Microsoft been shelved. Microsoft been shelved IPs the moment they lost weight. The momentum they going to be shelved. It's not good for the industry as a whole. Yeah, true. But if the game ain't shaking, then why would I keep putting it out there? That all depends. But the leeway there is Microsoft is making so much money, they need IPs. They need them. Like, I don't know exactly what happened with the whole Perfect Dark situation. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I do know. I don't know. But games, like, I know for a fact that's going to sell, like the games as a service, the multiplayer games, they're going to send those out. They're going to send them out regardless. I agree with you with them wanting the content and wanting to expand to new consumers on the other platform. But all I'm saying is, you the nigga in the market, then go buy the biggest gaming companies. Oh, you the biggest gaming artist, go buy the biggest company. Well, they kind of did that. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't understand too. If the ABK, because we tend to forget the reason why this even came down to where it came down to. If what was Bobby Kotick? If he wouldn't have did what he did and caused jeopardy to the company, the ABK deal probably would have never even went down like it did. It probably would have had to been sold for more. On top of that, that means that they would have had to sell out their licensed IPs. Nobody else on the block had the money to buy them outside of Microsoft for the most part. And Phil Spencer said this: Sony isn't our competition. Nintendo isn't our competition. Outside entities that's not about gaming is our competition. Places like Amazon, the people like Apple that are trying to get into the gaming industry just to make profit off of it. Those are the ones, them are our issues. And they like, nah, we not finna make it easy for you. You gonna have to go through the same, strap your boots up and go through the grind like we had to. Like, y'all remember how Microsoft rolled themselves into the gaming industry? They had to come out with XYZ type of games. Some of them sold, some of them didn't. You know what I'm saying? They had to go through the trenches. No, you're going to have to go through the trenches as well. And why would I give you a good handout such as Call of Duty, which make billions of dollars? Why would I just hand that to somebody like Amazon and Apple to help them out? Nah, we good. And then on top of that, I'm still trying to get back into the mobile market. One of the areas that Apple been blocking Microsoft in many ways than one. We seen what happened with the Fortnite incident in Epic Games. Apple and Google want to cut when it comes to the mobile market. You release any application on there, they want to cut. And Microsoft like, nah, we can't do that. I'd rather be the one that's giving out the cuts than the one having to receive one. He said, that's game over, bro. Becomes no fun anymore. The market has become stagnant, Haven't you noticed games are the same? We've been getting the same games. The indie games are the ones that's correct. Facts. Yeah. I've been saying that since Fortnite, since the Battle Royale situation with PUBG. I said, when have we had a real innovative game? And it's always crickets. I've been saying that, laughing is the cure, like facts. When it comes to gaming, we are, especially they scared. Everybody. Oh shoot. Hold on, man. I'll be right back, y'all.